The following podcast is recommended for mature audiences only. The following podcast is recommended for adults only. Maturity is not a requirement.
Hello and welcome to Dear Download, a podcast about Download Festival, music and the industry, and all other aspects related to rock and heavy metal. This episode we are talking about the Sunday headliners of Download 2025, Korn. I said that a bit weird. Did I say that a bit weird?
It's pronounced
Korn. Korn, me lovers.
Aye, Korn
Anyway.
playing.
I lost it. I am Adam, and as always, I am here with Simon. How are you doing, my man?
Hello. Good day to yourself.
And I have no puns or little quips this episode. We are also joined by Stu again. How are you doing, Stu?
I was going to say, boom, da, da, to you, sir.
Good.
Yes, I'm doing
I don't
well.
like the way he said Stu negatively as well. He said we're joined by Stu again.
Again, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, wait, I didn't mean to do that. Should I do it again?
No.
We're joined by Stu again. Come
Stu,
on.
Let's go. Boom, da, da.
But the way you did that a minute ago, it just reminded me that should have been your buzzer on. Is it? No, it's QI. They
Yeah,
have, like,
yeah.
certain things.
Yeah.
That would be your buzzer on QI.
That's a good, yeah, that'd be good, that.
But the first thing that came to my mind was Shooting Stars. Did Shooting Stars have that as well?
Jazz singing, yeah.
Okay, well, everybody has their own personal buzzers.
No, they just had the jazz round, which is what that reminds me
Okay.
of. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. I can't do it. Yes.
Yeah, man. I love Shooting Stars. I
Oh,
love
that's
those two.
excellent.
Anything they do is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since we last spoke about Sleep Token. Are you guys ready for Korn?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't do that bit.
Born ready.
Good. How you been? How you been, Simon, for the last couple of weeks? What's going on? What's going on with you?
Good. Yeah.
Good.
I'm trying to think of what's happened. What's happened here? Villa are into the last day of the Champions League. That's exciting. I got 3K subscribers. That's pretty exciting.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yes.
That's a
Awesome.
big-
Well done. Sorry.
That's a big milestone. So
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry if
only
I didn't sound
it's all right.
as enthused as you wanted me to. It just popped into my head. I was like, oh yeah, hang on, because last time I saw it was like 2.98.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So,
we're
I
there
didn't
now.
realise
So
you'd gone over. Nice.
I need 7,000 more, and I'll get a play button.
Oh, nice.
Hey,
Incredible.
So only 7,000 more to go.
congrats. So if half the people listening to this go and subscribe, then you'll get it.
Well, actually, I mean, I've got one video that's 40K. So if they all subscribed, I'd be way past 10,000. So
Yeah. What video is that? Which one is
that's my trip to Amsterdam video.
Oh, well.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think that was before we. No, was it? Was it before we met?
no, that was
Or your
only 2023.
honeymoon?
Yeah, it was
Your
only
honeymoon?
2023. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that did so well. Well done. Nice.
Travel
What's wrong with me?
travel videos, dude. Travel videos, they
Yeah.
fly off the shelves. The closest one is a download vlog with 22, but yeah, if you do a good travel vlog and it's got Vicky on the cover,
Yeah, you said that
you're in for a
before.
winner as well. Yeah, I mean, I would put her on the cover of everything because the click rate is higher whenever you have a woman on the front, but it would be clickbait-ish for me to have her on the cover, and it's just me in the videos. So
I was going to say, can I put Vicky on some of mine as well?
we'll both put Vicky on ours, and
Yeah.
everyone will be so confused. They'll be like, "What the fuck is this woman they keep putting on everything?"
She's not even real. We just made her up. She's AI.
She's AI. There are a lot of
yes, but-
my ex-girlfriends that would say that Vicky isn't real either. She is AI, believe me.
But you just reminded me of, I think it was in one of your videos, Stu, where you said that you were talking to Simon about that, and then you were like, I wouldn't do that, as your camera pans to your wife. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I think that was my Bloodstock video, wasn't it? I was like, some people say that if you add your wife into the video, you get more clicks. And I was like, yeah, I'd never do that. Anyway, how's Bloodstock been for you, my love?
Awesome. Speaking of how has it been for you, how has the last 2 weeks been for you, Stu? There we go. That was a fantastic,
incredible segue. Love it. It's been good. It's been eventful. Had the first band interview over on Trash Talkin, which was nice. We had Benji from Waterlines going to be performing at Bloodstock this year. Really good chat, incredible guy. And other than that, I've just been contemplating jumping off a bridge, trying to get Sabbath tickets. So yeah, that's where my life's at. The past 2 days, I've spent about 6 hours trying to get tickets. So
Jesus.
And as you can tell from my unenthused voice, I've not managed to get any at all. So we'll try again tomorrow, and then the day after. By the way, by the time this comes out, you'll be able to know if I got tickets or not. So.
Yeah, and I'll put a little like woohoo in or something if you got them.
Yeah, and what about if I didn't?
I'll come up with something. Yeah. I'll just delete you from the podcast.
Yeah.
Just me and Simon and some silence.
Your audio file gets deleted if you don't get tickets.
It'll be an in memoriam episode for me.
There's no way you'll get me trying to get a ticket like that for any of the gigs. You know, we had some huge gigs recently where everyone knows they'll sell out within minutes. So like everyone's on there trying to get it.
Yeah.
I've never tried. I can't think of anybody who I like enough to put myself through that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've done it. I'd like to think I'm a seasoned ticket purchaser by now, and these past 2 days have just proved me completely wrong. The amount of preparation you go through. I had 2 phones on the go, 2 separate Ticketmaster accounts, and still no luck at all. I mean, it was my dad that got the tickets, but we actually got tickets to see Sabbath when they returned to do their first show after decades. And it was at the O2 Academy in Birmingham. And somehow we managed to get 4 tickets to that. And that's a 20,000 cap venue. And we saw Sabbath there. And I can't even get tickets to this. It's bizarre. Mm-hmm. But I've seen them. I saw them at that show twice at Download. And then I went to the End tour as well. So I've seen them 4 times. But to miss them on this final occasion would be heartbreaking, really.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah. But you could only cram so many people into that stadium, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, I think 20,000 with seats, something like 40,000 with standing as well. So who knows? When you join in the queue and it's like 37,000 people in the queue, it doesn't bode well.
No.
So
no.
And of course, everyone. If it is probably the last time you'll ever get to see Ozzy do anything on a stage anyway. Yeah. So yeah. You could imagine the amount of people, old fans, new fans,
worldwide,
everyone going for it. Yeah.
It just makes me think of Rock in Rio when they have, is it 250 or 500,000 people there? Something stupid.
I think it's 250. It's like nearly 250,000 fucking people at that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thinking about Ozzy, like he could probably sell that out. With this last show.
Yeah,
like 250,000 easy, and what was it? So you said it's 40,000 overall.
I believe so. Yeah,
50,000 overall. That is
because Villa Park is like just the stands is like 45,000 normally.
Oh,
but
is it?
Okay. That would be every stand and no one on the pitch. But when you do a gig, you have to block off one of the stands.
The back end,
yeah.
So you automatically lose 15 to 20,000 at least.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if they are they? Because I know. People started doing
the blocking off the back
last year. Okay.
Yeah, the stage is going to be like the back end of whatever the west.
It will be like the Holt end or the north stand. Then I don't know which one they'll put it against, but yeah.
Right, but yeah, it was Taylor Swift, wasn't it, who started doing
it in the round
where. So yeah, you could buy a ticket to hear it from behind the stage.
Oh yeah,
see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Metallica did that as well. I seem to remember seeing someone. I can't remember who it was, but it was like they saw. There were some tickets that had just come available. It probably wasn't Metallica at all. They bought one of these tickets because they're like 20 quid, and it ended up being an incredible view of the stage. But it's just
Yeah.
the venue couldn't
seen that.
sell it full price just in case people complain and says, "Look, why are you giving me tickets for the back of the stage?" But
So just
paid off forever that was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for longer, lost it. You might remember me saying a while back when this was first rumored. I said to Simon, "We're going to go to that. Even we probably won't be able to get tickets, but if it's true and if it's happening, the fact that it's Villa Park as well, we will try and get like media passes or something or press passes. So
yeah,
that's my plan at the minute to just send an email off and see what happens. They might not even be having press or media there. I mean, they'll have the big people.
Well, that's going to be like worldwide press, though, isn't it? That's not going to be like.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Fuck off.
Yeah, I don't want to put anyone off here, but that's the likes of me ain't going to get in there on media.
Still worth an email, though. Still worth an email.
Yeah, of course it is. I'm just going to put my IVs on and say that I'm there to sort the cameras out or something.
Dude, you'll fucking get in as well, you prick.
I'd like to think so. If I don't get a ticket, I'm going there on the day just to see what I can swindle.
Pole vault over.
Pole vault, yeah. Skydive. I don't know, something.
You get that high vis on, mate. You're done. You're in.
Yeah, I was telling this story today. Actually, I was talking to Sean, listener of the podcast, and I remember the one time I was working at London at the what's it called now, XL, where they have all like the big shows and everything, and it was Star Wars Celebration. The one night that I was working there, and I'd just done a 27-hour shift. I'd been awake for 27 hours working on these screens.
Fuck.
We have like the digital advertising screens in the promenade and all that, and I was working on those 27 hours I put in, and people had been queuing for 24 of those 27 hours that I'd been inside that part of the building just to get into Star Wars Celebration. And because I was allowed in there anyway, past the security and everything, I thought, I'm just going to give it a go. So I went up to security, I had my bag on, my high vis, and I says, I've just got to check out the screens inside. And I just walked straight past these people who'd queued for 24 hours and, yeah, got straight in. So, and I've got a bit of history otherwise, getting into places I shouldn't be, so I don't know. Watch this space.
Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful, this guy.
I'd put my adventures on YouTube, but I don't want to get blacklisted from venues.
Well, yeah, I almost forgot. You got behind the stage at Download 2023, didn't you?
No, I'm joking. Yeah, no, it's fine. I did. I did. Yeah, it's just
Reading, not Reading, because it's the same company. At Bloodstock. No, you go to Bloodstock. Anyway, never mind.
I did Bloodstock as well, to be honest.
I'm trying to cover my tracks.
Tramlines. He was at Tramlines and he got right to the back. Yeah. I remember.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, so Korn. Simon, you again have something written a little bit about the history about them, like you did for Sleep Token and not Korn, and for Green Day. Do you want to go through that first?
Sure, yeah. So if you don't know who Korn are, this is just a little bit of a backstory before we get into obviously talking about them. So Korn are a new metal / metal, possibly, band from Bakersfield, California, formed in 1993, believe it or not. In 1994, they released their debut self-titled album and have been a mainstay of the metal genre ever since, with their career covering nearly 4 decades, which is absolutely insane. The band, of course, is notable for pioneering and popularizing the nu metal genre, along with a handful of other bands, of course. With this comes over 60 awards in total, including 2 Grammys for Best Video and Best Metal Performance. I don't think it can be understated just how much Korn have influenced bands, their music, even fashion within the alternative landscape, because for years people just wanted to dress like Korn. So, even fashion terms, they've influenced pretty much everybody. As of 2021, Korn have sold over 40 million records worldwide. And of course, they are our Sunday headliners at Download 2025. Yeah.
And like you said, people wanted to dress like them, and they still do to this day.
Literally, we could do a whole episode just about how much influence Korn have had on metal and alternative music in general, and we could talk for 3 hours about it. It's mad.
Yeah, and of course, I was hinting at the fact that Simon is wearing his Adidas T-shirt with 3 stripes. Is it always 3 stripes with Adidas? I can't remember.
Yeah, if you get 2, that's the fake shit, mate. That's the Wembley Market shit. Don't be getting that.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Adidas.
Do you know what Adidas stands for?
I know what the song is, but I don't. Is there another?
Well, until listening to Korn, I thought it was after dinner I did a shit, but according to Korn, it's not. So, and then if you read it backwards, it's soon after dinner I did another.
I've never heard that one before. That's good. I like it.
That was always one of them playground things. That was for us.
No, never heard of that one. That's good.
But yeah, on about the clothing line. Sorry.
Go on. Sorry, I was going to change it.
But yeah, on about the clothing line. Obviously, they released their own. They got so affiliated with Adidas and wearing Adidas that they've released their own clothing line now, haven't they? They are like the poster children of Adidas, if you know what I mean. And I don't know if it was like leading up to the Gunnersbury Park gig. They just released a line of clothes and
they did, yeah.
They flew out, like sold out.
They made Adidas
in no
cool
time.
though, like them and some other bands. Like all of the bands around that time, like Faith No More, slightly before wearing Adidas, like. They made a sports brand cool for alternative people to wear. That's pretty impressive, really, for them to do that. And I'm sure that Adidas have returned the favour because a lot of sales would have come from Korn directly, I would have thought. Yeah. Even back in like 2000, I was like, dude, they're wearing Adidas. That looks like the coolest shit ever. I want some Adidas stuff. Mum, can I have some Adidas stuff? So it definitely had an effect on everyone, I think.
Yeah. Again, the same as the last couple of episodes. Let's go through our sort of history, not backstory, is it? It's not a backstory, Adam. Shut up. Our history, how we got into Korn and everything. So, Stu, do you want to start us off with that? What is your?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I speak for a lot of people my age. I'm 29, turning 30, and couldn't say that I knew of Korn prior to Kerrang TV, seeing that Freak on a Leash video. That's got to have been the introduction for a lot of people my age into Korn.
Yeah.
And, incredible song then, incredible song now. One of my earlier memories, though, was when I was just blasting music on my headphones at the time and Twist came on. And I think it made me feel physically sick. Like it literally, there's a few songs like that catch you off guard, and when that's blasting into your ear holes, it turned my stomach for sure. Otherwise, it was just Kerrang Radio, Kerrang TV for me, from where my introduction started.
Yeah. That's interesting because it's the same for me. Like that Freak on a Leash video was on all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm 39. How did you say you're 27 or 29?
29, turning 30.
29. So 10. But so I was like 16, 17 at that point when I first saw it. So did you see it that young, or did you just catch up? Was it still being played so many years later?
I'm sure it was still being played when it shut down Kerrang TV. It was the same 12 videos on repeat, I think.
Yeah, would have been on there, definitely.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's cool. But yeah, I think that's something we should talk about in a little bit. Because like you said, you've got such a big back catalogue. They've been around for such. They've got such a big back catalogue, and they've been around for such a long time. So many people have got into them at different eras, different periods of their history. So I think it's interesting. Simon, how about you? What age were you, or what sort of era?
I first knew about Korn around 96-ish time, but I didn't actually listen to them. A couple of guys I went to school with had Life is Peachy, and so I kind of heard it, but I didn't listen to it. So it probably would have been about 98 when Freak on a Leash came out. That and Got the Life videos came out, and they were all over Kerrang and MTV and all that stuff. So that was my first real introduction to them. And then 99 was probably around the time when I really got into alternative music. And then Issues was the first Korn album that I bought in 99, not long after it came out. So that's my Korn love goes back a very, very long time, since to about 15, 16, maybe even 14. But so a long time. And then I've just been a fan ever since, literally ever since. They were also one of the first big bands I ever saw live. First band I ever saw, metal band, was Manson. Second band was Korn in 2001. So I have been a Korn fan for a very long time, but Yeah, they have a lot, like you said, a lot of different phases. They've been around. People have got into Korn throughout the years. Even kids now are watching that Freak Unleashed video and going, "This is the shit, bro. I need to listen to this right now."
Yeah.
So their influence goes from kids like me and you listen to it late 90s, early 2000s, all the way up to the 2010 kids like Stu that discovered Korn a little bit later on. So it's just crazy how far their reach goes.
Yeah. I mean, earlier you mentioned on about they're having a Grammy award for a video. Was it Freak on a Leash?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go then.
Yeah.
It's a great video, though.
Best video for... Well, at the time, you know, that music video was insane. Even now you watch it, it looks a little bit dated, but it still looks pretty cool. But back then, that literally blew people's minds, dude. They were like, this video is fucking insane.
Yeah, that's when like millions was pumped into like the budget of music videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then, it was not obscene to spend 500,000 to £1 million on a music video, which now is just fucking mind-boggling. But back then, it was just like, I mean, who knows how much over Korn's period, especially the early videos that they spent on music videos. I can't even imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, throughout the 2010s, it was all just record it on an iPhone in a disused warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But dude, 90s, 2000s, because that's how people consume content. It was like YouTube, you know, like it was all about videos.
Yeah, I mean, like Rolling, Limp Bizkit, wasn't that recorded on the top of the Twin Towers?
Yeah,
with like helicopter shots and everything. Yeah.
I'm pretty
on the
sure
top of the World Trade Center.
I got told that was a couple of mil, that video.
Yeah,
easy, because they were driving around New York. Like, New York is probably one of the most expensive places you can film. Like, you need permits, you need all sorts of shit. That's why everyone films their stuff in Canada, because they make it up to look like other places in America, because America's so difficult to film in, which is crazy.
Yeah. I would say the money they invested in the Freak on Leash video definitely paid off.
Oh, for sure.
With the amount of people that must have got into them through that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just insane.
I mean, just out of like interest, sorry, a Freak on a Leash, interested on how many views that's got on YouTube. So that video alone, off direct from Korn, has got 349 million views.
Yeah, and I bet it's only been on there that long either.
15 years ago it was uploaded.
Okay,
so not from release,
but it's way older than that. Could you imagine how many? If you included the Kerrang and MTV video watches, that would be in the billions. I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So I think I got into them. I must have been about 14. I think it was probably around the time that Hybrid Theory was released, which was 2001, was it?
2000.
Yeah, 2000. So yeah, pretty much dead on 14. So remember, I know I've said this story on the podcast before, but it's a Korn episode. I'm going to say it again. I was around a friend of mine's house. He's actually a Patreon as well, Mike Ferris. And in his front room, and they had a Korn video on it. It was a live Korn, would have been video, yeah. And I heard "Got the Life" for the first time, and that was the song that got me into metal. You know, I would have been into some other stuff before that. Like I know Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park I was into a little bit, and I've said before as well, I got some albums like back in '98, some like Offspring or whatever. But that's the first song that I heard that was like heavier than more the mainstream stuff, and it was just like, what the hell is this? This is amazing. So yeah, that got me into heavier stuff, just that one song. And I don't think I actually had the album though. I think the same as a lot of people. The first album of theirs that I had was Issues, and I never owned. Is the album Freak on a Leash as well?
No, it's Follow the Leader.
Follow the Leader, yeah. Sorry. I should fucking know that, shouldn't I? Dickhead. Yeah, I never owned the album Follow the Leader. A lot of people said it was really good. I probably heard it a few times around other people's copies. But yeah, I wasn't into it really, so I never got it. But yeah, I really loved Issues. And a few other albums, you know, I went off of them a little bit over the years and back onto them again. But that's what we're going to get into this episode. And yeah, should we? Do we want to start by going through all of the albums? Or I actually don't know where to start.
I'm easy. I mean, for myself, I've done some extreme cramming because my education of Korn is very much Kerrang based. So anything that was heard on Kerrang, the singles, almost like the most popular stuff, is where my knowledge lays. Obviously, I've seen them a few times. So if we want to go through the albums, I can chime in at points that I know.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of the same. I don't know. Will I keep that bit in? I think I'm kind of the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of people. I asked in the Discord, like a lot of people's top threes, because we were thinking about doing it. We might do something similar, but not quite. But there were some people that said that for Korn, they are more of a singles band than an albums band for them, and I kind of get that. You know, there were some albums that I really liked, but other albums I didn't even listen to until recently. Some of the albums I just wasn't interested in, but I did like some of the singles. So yeah, I can't really talk. And I know I've talked about, I've tried talking about all of the albums before in these episodes. But I think I just embarrassed myself after trying to talk about it in depth after one listen. So I'll just do the same as you. I'm just going to go, right, I don't know it well enough. There were some that surprised me and that I'm definitely going to go back to, but yeah, I can't. You can't.
I think I've gone and done the same as you, like having only listened to mostly singles. In listening to a lot of the albums, I'm not here to offend Simon or any Korn fans or anything, but a lot of it seemed quite samey to me. He's flipping me off now for audio listeners. A lot of the albums sounded a bit samey for me, but then the albums that didn't sound samey blew my mind. And in just doing the research for this episode, I've found my new favourite albums of Korn. So
okay,
I implore anyone to go and give them all a go. You may not like all of them, but the new discoveries that you find, you're gonna love seeing them live come June.
Do you want me to just run through the albums then from 94 up to now, just quickly? We can just touch on them just little bits quickly.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we start with one of the biggest ones, 1994, Korn. Still to this day considered to be, you know, top 50 metal albums of all time, probably by a lot of people, I would say. It's been a lot of top 50 lists. I still think it holds up massively. Obviously, as well, it created a whole genre, basically. You know, I know that people have been dabbling within that, but if there's no Korn, there would not be a lot of music, would not exist that we really like, which is crazy. So I love it from start to finish. I don't know how you guys, if it's one that you guys have delved into or listened to.
Yeah, well, some of the tunes on there are incredible. I mean, opening an album with a song like Blind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You can't go wrong, really.
A debut album starting with a tune like Blind is incredible. And it's going to be incredible live. Everyone's going to be like absolutely screaming the lyrics to that. And then for me, the other takeaway from it, well, two actually, Clown, a song I've come to love. And a song that they don't seem to play live anymore is Faggot. That is an incredible tune as well.
They played that at Gunnersbury.
Oh, did they? Oh, no.
I was absolutely blown away, dude. Yeah. I was like, they haven't played Faggot in ages. They fucking played it. Obviously, it was a celebration of it, but I was blown away by that.
Yeah. No, for me, that's a definite standout tune. Great album. And the album art, you see that cover and it's timeless. You just seem to... There's certain albums in history where they belong in a museum almost, and that is one of the front covers of an album that always sticks out for me.
Yeah, totally agree. Ad?
Yeah, no, I did the singles they released. Well, I don't know what they released, but yeah, both Blind and Clown, absolutely amazing songs. I still love them. But these first two albums, I'll just clump them into one. I could not get along with these first two albums. Oh dear, Simon's.
No.
I can't describe it. Okay,
you'll hear my views on the next one, and this one I don't agree, but the next one I very much agree.
Something I will say, sorry, with that album is a song I just do not like, actively dislike, is Shoots and Ladders. And I know this is such like a pinnacle in the live set. He comes out with the bagpipes and everything, but I just wish it was a better song that had that he could bring the bagpipes out to, because I just can't get on with that song. Unfortunately,
that's fair. I suppose it's not as exciting on the record as it is live. That song.
Yeah, it's definite spectacle live.
Yeah, it's much more exciting live than on the record. I will admit that as well. I still think it's a good song, but definitely more exherating live than on the CD. Definitely, yeah I agree.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
I do think.
Sorry.
Although I do think, I mean, this album was, like you said, it was massive at the time. It was completely different to anything else that had ever existed. I never listened to it at the time. So I do think if the people who were into it at the time and were into Korn back at that point, yeah, of course, this is going to still be one of their favorite albums. But I think it's harder to get in. Like it was of the time as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's what music sounded like at the time. Just completely different and incredible, and something like brand new. And it's like this blowing people away. But I couldn't get into it listening back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think actually it's a good segue because we can't say that Korn had all the success without mentioning Ross Robinson, because he produced that album, and I'll give you the list of the other albums he produced. He is basically the godfather of nu metal. Without Ross Robinson, I'm not sure Korn would have produced the album that they produced from that. I think that Ross Robinson is one of the most important sort of factors of Korn doing so well, and other bands as well. Just listen to these albums that he had produced to start a whole genre. So Korn, Limp Bizkit's first album, $3 Bill, Deftones' first album, Adrenaline, Slipknot's first album, self-titled, and Iowa, Fear Factory's first album, Sepultura Roots, and Machine Head The Burning Red, all within a space of, 4 or 5 years?
Fucking
that
hell.
is,
yeah.
That is all the bands, pretty much, apart from Linkin Park and Papa Roach, that pretty much defined an entire genre of music.
Yeah.
And he produced all of them.
Wow. He's like the godfather, as you say.
He is, yeah. Well, people just say he's the godfather of nu metal, but if you watch like little snippets and stuff about the first album, you can see how much he was involved in getting the best out of Jonathan Davis and everyone. Like, he really did push him to do the best. So it's a great album, but without Ross Robinson, I'm not sure the genre or that album would have been what it actually turned out as. So we just have to mention him to give him credit for that, because it would be bad if we just said it was just Korn. Anyway, Life is Peachy, 1996. Pretty far down the list for me when it comes to Korn albums, if I'm honest. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Korn. I do think it has some good songs on it, but it's not an album that I enjoy all the way through, and it's definitely towards the end of my lists. But a lot of people really love this album, but I'm not one of those Korn fans that does. I feel it's really sloppy compared to the first album. Like, the first album is just, if you listen to the two back to back, first album's so solid, so direct, everything has a purpose. And I think he just said, just be a bit more free and sort of flowing. And I didn't think it worked at all on Life is Peachy. And again, I don't know if this is one that you guys have delved into. Yeah,
for me, this one was a bit of a drone. Not really, as you say, flow. There was flow in the first album, whereas this one, it just kind of like merged into one sound. This whole album. Takeaways for me is Good God, Adidas is truly a brilliant song.
It's got some bangers on it, definitely.
And for the first time in doing this research, I heard the Lowrider cover, which caught me off guard. But,
it's weird, isn't it? But I like it, but it's very strange.
Mm-hmm. So
it's not Jonathan Davis singing either; it's Head singing that song.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of an album, quite like one big song for me. Not the best, in my opinion.
It's fair. Ad?
Yeah, I'm the same. What I just said, I think I just sort of covered it with the last one. I couldn't get on with either of these first two albums. They were just a bit too much of that time. I didn't get into them at the time. So yeah, I didn't enjoy this album either.
No, I don't think it's a great listen. But there are Korn fans out there that literally swear by this album and say some people actually think it's better than Korn, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I don't think it's anywhere near. But I think we all agree on that one. Mm-hmm. Next up, the one obviously we've mentioned a little bit earlier, 1998's Follow the Leader. I'll admit, I don't love this album like a lot of people do. A lot of people just, because it's got so many good singles on it. But as an album, not that it's near the bottom of my list, but it certainly sits in the middle somewhere. Although I will say it is one of the best sounding albums, because this is when they tuned down to like drop A on their 7 strings, and it was just, the guitar tones are unreal. So that's the reason why I love this album more for the sound than the songs, but it does have obviously Freak on a Leash and Got the Life and some other great singles on there as well, Dead Bodies Everywhere and shit like that. But it still sits in the middle for me, but it's a great sounding album. It's good. It's easy to listen to, but it doesn't have my favourite Korn songs on it. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, with this one, it was on about tuning down. You can definitely hear it on this. Like the bass just sounded like a drum kit that could play notes. Like, in fact, it was quite impressive listening to it because it was like you listen to the drums and you hear every single beat the drums play, the bass plays at the same time. And I know obviously as a bassist you're meant to follow the drummer, but that came through so much in listening to this in a way I've never heard it before. So that was quite impressive. Takeaways: Freak on a Leash, Got the Life, Children of the Corn I quite liked. That was like a new discovery for me, featuring Ice Cube. So yeah, good album overall. And again, real standout artwork that I'm sure everyone would recognise.
It's got to be one of the other famous Korn covers.
Because obviously it features in Freak on a Leash video. Probably most people will recognise it from that.
Ad?
Yeah. Again, like you said, absolutely incredible singles on this album, but I couldn't get on with the album as a whole. It made me wonder though, because it's quite a bit of a sound change. It's not so much Jonathan Davis like not fucking about, but like making weird noises into the microphone as much as it was on the first.
No, it's true. Yeah.
So
he's singing a lot more, isn't he? Yeah.
That's probably what I should say. Singing a lot more. I did wonder, like, the fans of them before this might have gone, "What the fuck is this?" You know, they fucking sold out already. But obviously, I wasn't really into them at the time to know how it was, how the music, how the metal
was changing. Yeah. It's so vastly different, though. You listen to the guitar tones and the tuning and everything on Life is Peachy. Those first couple of, just chugs, and you're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, what on earth has happened to this band?" They've just like changed their sound. Not completely, but I get what you mean. It's a totally different sound.
Yeah.
It's a totally different sound compared to Life is Peachy.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I wasn't that big a fan of this album.
That's fair. Yeah, it's fair. Again, this is probably one of the biggest Korn albums. I think it's the biggest selling Korn album ever. I'm pretty sure it's the highest one out of all of them, which is understandable because, Freak on a Leash was such an absolutely giant single, so it makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah,
back in the day where if you liked a single, you'd buy the album.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I bought this album. I was one of those. I bought every Korn album, but this was one that I bought because I liked Freak on a Leash. So yeah, I'm with you.
I saw a picture recently, actually. It was funny, man. Obviously a modern day meme, if you will. And it's just a dude crying. And it's like the face when you buy an album off a single that you thought absolutely rips. And then the rest of the album's just dog shit.
Yeah, I got a few of those.
Yeah, I had a couple of those. Not many, to be fair. But there were probably about at least 10 out of my collection when I was like, this album's dog shit.
I'll miss that, man. I miss buying an album and almost being forced to listen to it start to finish because you've invested some money into it. Like now it's just so throwaway. You listen to a single off a new album, you're like, yeah, that'll do me. What am I listening to next? Different album, different band.
Yeah.
I've done that loads of times recently. I really enjoy a sound of like a song that comes on randomly on Spotify, and I'm like, oh, I could enjoy these. I'll go and find them on Spotify. And they'd sound nothing like that one single that I really liked, and it's like, this is annoying.
I've had that as well. Yeah,
that happened to me back when, it was all like you said, Stu. There was a band called Run Rig, and there was a song that I really, really liked, and I bought the album. And it was like, this isn't even metal. It was like some weird. I think it was some like weird Irish folk music, and I was like, that's not what that one song sounded like. This non-metal album now. Not that everything has to be metal, but
I got in my notes. You like the Cold album, Cold, don't you, Ad?
Yeah,
that was also produced by Ross Robinson. I put that little note in there to tell you because I know that you like that album. That's a Ross Robinson album as well.
13 Ways to Bleed on Stage. Cold was before that, wasn't it? It was Cold,
I don't know what order they were in.
Year of the Spider. A different kind of pain, I think. Anyway, yes, I probably did. It was a long time ago. I was going to say, I went on YouTube and because I was really interested, like I said earlier, about looking at when people got into these albums and what people's favourite ones were, because there was some that I'd never even heard of, if I'm honest. So I found a couple of videos on YouTube of people ranking their favourite albums, and then went into the comments, and loads of people were commenting, saying their rankings as well, from best to worst. And this album, Follow the Leader and Issues, were almost always the top two. It wasn't, the order switched around. I would say 70% of the time, this was like the top or second favorite album for people.
It's well loved, definitely. That's a good segue, because next is 1999's Issues.
Yeah, awesome.
Which is crazy that it came out a year after Follow the Leader, which is actually mad that you can release an album that quickly. But they really wanted to catch off the success, which makes perfect sense. You have an album that big, get something out as quickly as possible because you're going to make money off it, no matter what. I prefer it tenfold, personally, to Follow the Leader. I think it's darker. I think the songs are better. It doesn't have as much... it's not as oomphy, I would say. It doesn't have that kind of chuggy disgustingness that Follow the Leader has. But I think the songs are better. I think his singing's better. And overall, I just think it's fantastic. I love the cover, like Stu will probably talk about. It's a legendary Korn cover, one of those ones that sits up high. You've got amazing singles, Falling Away From Me, Make Me Bad, Somebody, Someone. The intros, outros, I just think this album, start to finish, is gold all the way through. It's one of my favourite Korn albums.
Can I go next?
Sorry. Oh, no, sorry. Ad, we'll throw to you next then.
I've got a lot to say on this, and I don't want to forget it after going off of what you just said.
Okay.
So this was the first album of theirs I owned. I had it on tape, and I listened to it to death. And I was just like, constantly turning it over, turning the tape over to the next side, and turning it over, go back to the beginning. And I absolutely loved this album at the time. It's still got many, many amazing songs on it. But I think it's got a lot of mid songs on it, a lot of filler. I think some of them are a lot slower, and they're not much of a song. It's just him going on about something. But because of what you said a minute ago, Stu, you listened to this album front to back over and over again. You fell in love with those songs because you had nothing else to listen to, or you bought it and you're not carrying around a wallet full of tapes or CDs after a bit later on. So you fell in love with these songs. But I think if it was released today, I don't like people wouldn't enjoy those slower songs where he's not really doing much. I still like the album. It still means a lot to me because I listen to it so much. But yeah, I can skip some of the slower ones in between, even in between the good stuff. Well, I mean,
see,
for a lot of people, they're all good. Yeah. Sorry.
I think those somber moments are what give this album so much identity compared to some of the others.
Yeah, and you're probably right. And that just imagine how many other albums that were released recently. Those songs are very important to the album as well, but people just skip it because they can.
I suppose now they would, but back then they were important to make up the album. So yeah.
And you're saying people would skip by them now? You didn't have much choice back then, did you? Short of,
especially on tape.
Yeah.
Press it,
and then try again. Oh no, same song. Boom. Yeah. Oh, okay. Next song.
I don't think they're skippable, but Adam does.
I think a lot of people would skip them now, but I don't know. Like I said, it means a lot to me. If I was listening to it now for the first time, I wouldn't listen to them. Well, I wouldn't really want to listen to them. If that makes sense. Yeah. But it's still. I was actually surprised that it was a top album for a lot of people. Well, kind of surprised and kind of not, because again, at the time it was released, people bought it and they listened to it to death, and it stayed there. It stayed in their head. But I mean, we'll get to some of the other albums, but I think I feel like they made some albums that just sounded a lot better, were a bit more upbeat, a bit more easier to listen to for sort of more mainstream people who weren't into that heavier stuff. Especially when they did like Coming Undone, Twisted Transistor, they were everywhere. But I don't know. Yeah, that was my thoughts on it. There's no really conclusion. That was a bit of what went through my head as I was listening back to this one again.
Stu?
Sorry.
Yeah. Stu. Over to Stu. I'll be completely honest, I haven't got a fat lot to say on this one. Takeaways, Falling Away From Me. It's just one of those albums that slipped by, to be honest. Artwork is obviously very iconic. Character that they've created there appears on a later album, which we'll surely get to. So yeah, I haven't got a lot to say. I apologise. Falling Away From Me, great song. Next album, please.
Somebody, Someone. Oh, good song.
Next album, I believe, is this
Untouchables.
2002's Untouchables. This one for me is one that everyone loves, and I still don't love this album. I've really tried to force myself to like this to love this album. I like this album, don't get me wrong, but it just has never been near the top of my list for Korn albums. It's always sat in the middle. It's got some banging singles, Here to Stay, Thoughtless, Alone I Break. It's got some great moments. Here to Stay is easily one of the best Korn songs. Unbelievable. I saw them on this tour. It was fucking unreal, but it still doesn't stand up for albums. Sound-wise, incredibly good sounding album, mixed perfectly. Sound is perfection, but I just don't think it has the songs, and I never loved it as much as everyone else did, and to this day still don't love it as much as some people do, but I like it. Stu?
It's another one of those albums that passed me by. I don't know if it was just the time. Maybe it was like that time it was what people were listening to, but for me, upon listening on research, it's passed me by, unfortunately.
Okay, it's cool.
I really like this album again as well. Really loved it, actually. I don't think you're too wrong. Well, not too wrong. I don't think you're too. I can't think of the right word. But when from sort of watching the videos that I watched as well, I think that one of the guys said, I mean, a huge Korn fan, knows everything about them. I think he said something along the lines of, a lot of people don't like this one. A lot of people do, but it's liked less, more frequently. I can't think of the right way to say that. So yeah, you're not too far out of, you're not too sort of out of touch of other people, too many other people. I cannot, why can't I think of the right phrase for that?
It's just that everyone I knew at the time,
yeah,
I absolutely loved this album, and I was the only one out of my group of friends that was just never hot on this album, even though everyone else constantly had it on. I just wasn't.
But yeah, I loved it. Right, Here to Stay, Hollow Life I really liked. Like you said, Thoughtless. Anybody else enjoy the Evanescence cover of Thoughtless?
Can't say I've heard it.
Never heard it.
Oh, go back and hear it. Go back and hear it. Go back and listen to it.
Okay.
Try harder.
Something wrong with me tonight. Alone I Break was another great song. Yeah, so many good ones on this one. I really, really like this one.
That's fair. Yeah, like I said, I like it, just don't love it like some people do. But I do like it. There is some good stuff on there. And there was a lot of, I haven't written down any names, but there was a lot of tracks that I'd completely forgotten about that I listened to. And I thought, oh, actually, that's a killer riff. But at the time, I probably wouldn't have been looking at it from a musician's point of view, because I wasn't a musician at that point. Yeah. Whereas now, from a musician standpoint, I'm listening to things differently that I didn't hear back then. So now I'm going, oh, that riff's filth. But back then I just would have gone, not really interested. So I like it a lot more than I did anyway. Moving on, we have another year later. They liked to pump albums out around this period. Is probably one of my least favourite Korn albums. It's 2003's Take a Look in the Mirror. I just think this is when nu metal was dead in the water pretty much. And I felt like it feels forced almost. It does have some good singles. Right Now, Did My Time, Y'all Want a Single. There's a couple of others on it. And again, all my friends loved this album. But for me, this is one of the worst listens on a Korn album. I don't like the sound. I think a lot of the songs are trash. I don't like the lyrics. I don't like what they were going for. I really don't like this album. It's very weak for me. And it's the last album with the original lineup, obviously, until Head would return later down the line. But the band would never be the same again after this album. This is the last original Korn lineup album. And sadly, I don't think it's very good at all. Stu? Okay,
you say Head. This is Head's final album.
Yes.
Educate us. What instrument was Head playing?
He is guitar.
Okay.
He does come back on the Paradigm Shift in 2013 later on.
Gotcha.
Bass.
I'm sorry, I was doing that. You didn't see.
Okay.
I was doing this as well. If it was bass, it would be.
You'd be slapping the
No,
bass.
it wouldn't. It'd be down here.
Yeah, it'd be down there. It's for Korn. He left. What I didn't mention is through probably from the first album to this point, I mean, they were basically a group of drug addicts. They were off their tits most of the time, drinking all day, constantly on tour, doing God knows what. And Head just basically could not take it anymore and, was exhausted, too much drugs. He just had a new baby girl at the time. So, starting a family, and he just wasn't in the right headspace. So he decided to leave the band, basically. And the short version is he's become a born again Christian. So he left the band, found God, went through loads of phases, released a really, really good Love and Death album, and then came back to Korn. So now he's back in Korn full time and has been since 2013. So that's just the very short version. But at the time, it was a fucking big deal him leaving. And I mean that it was like front cover of Kerrang big deal stuff when he left the band, because everyone was pretty distraught. And the band have cited that he is the most creative and influential person in the band when it comes to writing music. So him leaving the band for them was a huge deal because they believe him to be the most talented person in the band. So it was a big deal. But yeah, there you go.
Okay. I've always thought he looks like Ben Affleck if he had dreadlocks. Side note there anyway.
I'll have to look at him again.
Go and Google it.
See if you're right. Yeah.
I remember seeing a video of him actually. It was it must have been the school that he went to. He like revisited and did like a play along on guitar for all the kids, and it looked mental. Like, you should check that out on YouTube, because can you imagine?
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that.
A guitarist of that caliber coming in to do some live songs. Yeah,
as awesome. People, they're great. I'll watch any Korn interview. I'll watch any backstage stuff. They seem like the most fun, nicest, most down to earth people you could ever see. They just seem like the coolest dudes, all of them. So I've got a lot of time for watching any backstage stuff or any any interviews with them. I've got loads of time for it. Yeah,
that's sweet. In terms of the album, Right Now, Did My Time, You'll Want a Single. Yeah, that's my takeaway. And You'll Want a Single's a banger for me. Like, can't wait to see that live.
If they play it.
If they play it, here's hoping.
I think that's not a hard rotation, one of them, but you never know. They've got quite a lot of time, so hopefully they cram it in.
Yeah.
That single for me, I had beef with that at the time. You'll Want a Single. I was like, what the fuck is this? But I mean, it's become one of the biggest. Well, maybe not one of the biggest songs, but it's become a part of Korn. That is Korn now. Before it was like, this doesn't sound like anything like Korn. What the fuck is this? And there's more of that to come later as well. But yeah, I love this album as well. I would put it on start to finish. Right Now, I mean, pretty much all of these songs I loved. It was the same time. I would have put it on, listened to it all, even if there were songs that I weren't too keen on at the time. They grow on you. So I loved this album a lot. Really, really liked it.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
We got opposite views on that one, but that's fair. Okay, yeah. So next up, 2005's See You on the Other Side. I quite like this album, to be honest. At the time, it was an odd one because we were like, no Head. I wonder how this is going to come out. But actually, probably come out with two of their biggest singles on this one, obviously being Twisted Transistor, Coming Undone. And it also contains one of my most underrated and favourite Korn songs, which is Liar, which is an absolute stonker of a tune, which more people should know. But I like this one because they were experimenting. Obviously, they wanted to distance themselves a lot with that 2003 nu metal-y kind of sound. And they just thought, let's just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. That's what this album is to me. It's just experimentation to see where they could go and where they couldn't go. But I think for the most part, it's really good. It sits kind of in the middle of my Korn albums, but I do really, really like this one because it's so almost off the wall compared to what they were doing before. So I really dig it. And I did at the time and I still do now. Stu?
Takeaways for me, as you've just mentioned them, the singles for me, because I think as a Kerrang kid, that's what I saw on telly, Twisted Transistor and Coming Undone. We'll mention favourite songs later, but Coming Undone is like up there for me. And the video for that, I just love it. It's so creative and again,
very
money
cool.
being pumped into music videos at the time. Yeah, great music video. Not much else to take away from that album for me, unfortunately. So, yeah. Adam, what do you think of that one?
I never listened to the album. Remind me of the Coming Undone video.
It's almost like as the song goes on, they start turning into like tape almost like
They start like going all spaghettified, and
if you
there's
imagine like
loads
the
of,
tape out of a cassette.
There's like rocks exploding and like
Okay.
different elements. It's awesome. Even
Great
now,
video.
it's such a good video.
Yeah. I don't remember that. I think when I try and think of it, I think of Twisted Transistor, where they're just on the road with a load of cones around or something, aren't they?
Yeah,
can't
they are
remember that
all
one
the
myself.
rest of the rappers. Yeah,
And yeah, Snoop Dogg turns up.
yeah,
but
they've got
yes.
all of the rappers being them in the video. It's unbelievable. That video's so good.
Yeah. I did not like either of those two songs when they first came out.
Yeah.
I think Coming Undone was out first, wasn't it? And I hated it. I want to say it was. And I hated it. And then
Probably.
Twisted Transistor came out, and I liked it a little bit more, but I think I was already put off of them for a little bit. So I didn't like Twisted Transistor either. So I never listened to this album.
Damn.
But what I said a minute ago, I didn't think it sounded anything like Korn. I was like, you've gone way too far off of what you sounded like before. But they are part of Korn now. If you think of those songs, you think, yeah, that's definitely Korn. It's not like I was thinking about that the other day, and it's weird. Like, I could probably listen to them a bit more and probably enjoy them a bit more now.
Without a doubt, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. But at the time, I was just like, fuck off. Ain't Korn that I know and love.
Because how they started isn't that, but now what you're accustomed to from what they've since released, you probably go back to, and it's a hell of a lot more palatable, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel like it just slips into Korn now. At the time, you were probably right. It was like I said, it was very different. They were throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck. But yeah. But I would say, if you're not even listening to the whole album, just listen to the song Liar. It's fucking great. It's really, really great. So if you get a chance to that, it's very, very good. It's heavy, really heavy. But I like that song a lot.
Cool.
But yeah. Okay. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Then we get to 2007's Untitled. No album name. This is one of my least favourite Korn albums. I can't stand this album. A lot like 2003's Taking the Mirror, but worse. They were trying to push the band even sort of further along from what they'd done. See the other side. They were trying to go in like a more progressive direction. They were going off and just saying, right, let's just make everything really proggy. And I don't think it worked for them at all. There is not one song on this album that I like. This would be the last Korn album I would reach for if I was going to put on a Korn album. I actively dislike this album and always have. And on re-listen, I can't stand any of it. Which is, just what it is. I really don't like this album.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, telling you how I really feel.
Bloody hell.
True feelings. Stu?
It's a passerby for me. I was so out of touch with this album even existing. When they released the deluxe version of this in 2023, I thought, Korn have just released a new album, not realising it was just a deluxe version of this 2007 release. So it's passed me by completely. And from what you've said, I'm not going to bother.
You never know, but my recommendation would be to stay well away from this one. But we'll see what Adam says.
Yeah, you never know, because I listened to this album for the first time this morning. I only got maybe 3 or 4 songs into it, and I really liked what I heard.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I really
it's all
did.
sorts, mate.
I was a little bit busy. I definitely do want to go back and listen to this again at least a couple more times to see what I think a bit more. But yeah, so after the last one, what was it? Take a Look in the Mirror? Was that the one before? What was it? See You on the Other Side.
See You on the Other Side, yeah.
I basically fucked Korn off for about 10 years. I didn't know this was released. I didn't know the next 2 were ever released. I never knew of their existence up until recently. But yeah, I really like this one. I'm going to go back to it.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, good. Awesome. Next up, we have 2010's Korn 3, Remember Who You Are. Now, I only found this out a couple of years ago. I was thinking, why did they call it Korn 3? I never researched it. It's because they think that this was the 3rd step in their career. So they'd had like 2 phases before, and this was the beginning of a new phase. Unfortunately, it's a pretty bad one because also this is by far for me one of the worst Korn albums. The reason I don't like this one is this is a perfect example of never go back to your ex. Never go backwards, always move forwards in life. On this one, they got Ross Robinson back and they tried to recapture the magic and the rawness that they did on the first couple of albums. And for me, it did not work at all. I think this is such a flat sounding album with not really many redeeming features or songs that I even like. So again, for me, this one, at the time, I was so disappointed. I bought this album as well. I was really, really disappointed. But yeah, I really, really do like this one. And just like the Untitled, not a Korn album I would ever reach for to stick on. Stu?
So you're saying they tried to go back to like the roots, like the true early new metal sound, and he just didn't hit the mark?
Nope, did not. They brought Ross Robinson back to try and get that energy out of them, but it's this is why you should never go backwards with your sound. You always move forwards.
Got it.
I think.
Yeah.
Not really got much to say on this one, unfortunately. Another passed me by. I'm sorry that there's so many, but there are so many albums here. In order to have listened to all of them is a feat in itself. So yeah, unfortunately, I've got no comments on this one.
Well, it's different for me because I never left Korn.
You lived it. Yeah.
Every album that came out, whether I liked it or not, I still either bought it or listened to it. So it's easy for me to say it because I've been present for all of these, where if you didn't pay attention, you would have missed some of them. Yeah. So,
and I think in going back, being new, having my fresh ears on it now, not listening to it at the time of release, it's even worse in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing from me, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And?
But that's interesting. We'll talk about that probably at length after as well, about like, because we talk about it briefly about when people got into them and all that. But so this album, it is difficult to listen to all of their albums. I woke up this morning thinking I've still got 7 Korn albums to listen to today. So I skipped through a few of them. I actually thought this one, I wasn't that keen on it, but I didn't think it sounded too much different to the one before, Untitled. Just a little bit slower, but I could be wrong. I didn't listen to the whole album. I probably would listen to it at some point, but I'm not as keen to go back to it as I am as Untitled.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Next up, 2011, so not far after, The Path of Totality. Obviously, the massive flop that was Korn 3, they were like, let's get away from that as quickly as we can. So let's do a dubstep album. Which I think is absolutely genius. Taking contemporary genres of the time and saying, let's mash this up with Korn and see what happens. I mean, Chaos Lives in Everything, Narcissistic Cannibal, and Get Up are absolutely slamming tracks. They are. Yeah. It's weird how well dubstep merges with the Korn sound. It's kind of actually scary because it sounds like they invented it because it just sounds like Korn, which is pretty insane. But I think this obviously it sits in the middle of albums. I don't think it's the greatest Korn album, but the balls on Korn to just do a dubstep album is absolutely unreal. And I think it paid off. I think that the sound, the production is great. And I think it's exciting. And these are some of the best sounding songs live. I hope they play Get Up because hearing them play that live is unbelievable. It's unreal. It's unreal. But yeah, it was considered very much a taboo album at the time. All of the gatekeepers were throwing their toys out the pram, mate. Oh, they were losing their minds with this album, which is why I like it so much because it pissed so many people off.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you, Stu?
I think, as you say, dubstep was the genre of 2011, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to collaborate with Skrillex, who was very much the forefront of the genre, was a great move. As you say, like Narcissistic Cannibal and Get Up. They're my 2 favourite tracks from that album, and coincidentally, they are the 2 songs with Skrillex. So yeah, great album. It'd be incredible. I think Narcissistic Cannibal would be a brilliant introduction to the stage. They'll never do it, but if you listen to it, I can definitely see them coming on stage to that. And same as yourself, I'd love to see Get Up live. I think I did see that live I'm pretty sure not long
they
after...
do play it. Yeah, they do play it every now and then. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Not long after 2011, they did the tour with Slipknot. They were like the support, and I feel as though they may have played it then, and it was truly incredible to see that live.
Yeah, that was
so
like
I'd love to see that again.
2016-ish?
Something like that.
15,
I
16,
think I was in like my first year of uni, so it must have been about 2013 or something like that, I think.
Oh, okay, maybe it was before that then. I'm thinking of the 2015-16 one, but they might have done an earlier version of it.
Yeah.
I think that was with Limp Bizkit when they toured later on.
Download 2013,
King 810.
they played Get Up, I'm pretty sure. So they were definitely playing it around that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to see them in, would have been 2016.
Oh, it was 2016.
Opening for, well, not opening, but supporting Slipknot, and King 810 also played
that. Was it. That was the tour, yeah.
Yeah, because I went for my 30th birthday over to Cardiff. I was talking about that to somebody this morning, actually, in work. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it. We've said about this, actually, on the podcast before. I didn't enjoy it because I worked that day, and I was absolutely shattered at the gig, so like I didn't get into it as much as I should have. Even though a lot of my friends came with me over to Cardiff, and we stayed there the night, and the plan was to get wasted, but I was just not in the mood.
Oh, that sucks. If only you could go back in time, eh?
Yeah. Was that the Motor Point?
I do not remember.
No. I just know there's an arena.
It probably would have been.
There's an arena in Cardiff, and there's the most incredible barbecue place next door to it called Smokehouse, and incredible food. Me and Georgia went to see Architects at the Motor Point, and we went there and had incredible food, and I had a cocktail, and I had the most expensive one because I thought that must be the tastiest one, and it tasted like shit. But it was a skull filled with a cocktail, a strong cocktail with a bottle of Corona sticking in the top, and yeah, safe to say I was fucked for the rest of the night. I was after that. So if anyone goes to a gig at the Motor Point, go and check that out because it's awesome.
I've been there loads of times, but I'll have to check this place out now.
Yeah, definitely.
Sick.
Just having a top up.
No.
Apple
Bit
juice.
of apple juice.
Apple juice. There we go. There we go. I didn't like any of the dubstep stuff. I didn't really hear much of it at the time, but I wasn't interested in it. So there's another album of theirs that I fucked off and went, Korn doesn't exist to me anymore. I wasn't one of these gatekeepers because I didn't really care about them too much, so I didn't really go, that's not the Korn that I know. That's not my Korn. What are you doing, Korn? Doing dubstep. I just didn't enjoy it because I didn't.
Where's the nonsense? Where's the boom da da ums? Where are
they? Yeah, we can move on. I don't have anything to say about this album.
Let's go. We move on to 2013's The Paradigm Shift. The album that Head came back, which was a huge deal at the time. And man, you can tell on this album that he is back because for me, this is one of my favourite Korn albums. They still kept a lot of the electronic sounds that they had from the dubstep stuff, but they obviously toned it down and then just continued to do what Korn do, but incorporating the electronic sounds. And I think it beefed up their sound so much. Obviously, that's just what Korn sound like now. But at the time, I was like, oh, they've kept the electronic elements, but the guitars are turned up to like stupid degrees. And now it sounds like the perfect Korn hybrid. Yeah, I love this album, literally start to finish. Both guitarists fire in. Jonathan Davis's vocals by this point are just absolutely top notch. Songs are great, sounds great. I really do not have enough good things to say about this album. I've always loved this since it came out, and yeah, I still love this album. I was listening to it today in the gym, so I still love this album even now. Stu?
Yeah, so as Si knows, this is the first time I've ever listened to this album was today, and I had to message Si saying how good it really was. After listening to all the other albums previously where I say like a lot of the songs kind of merge into each other, this album, it almost could be an album of singles. Like any one of these tunes could have been released and it would have been single worthy, if you know what I mean. So yeah, great album. If you're a new listener and you don't really want to delve too far into the history, I'd definitely say this is a possible second listen maybe after you've listened to Self-Titled. Yeah, I'm sure you'll love this as a new listener. It's definitely more palatable than some of their earlier releases.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I fucking love this album. I
yes, we're all agreed on an album.
I know, yeah. You know, I have embarrassingly one of my when I have this memory come up on Facebook, and I put on there about this album. I was like, Korn, you were dead to me for 10 years, but one listen to the first track of the new album and you've won me back, or something like that. I was a fucking dickhead. But yeah, like literally, as soon as I heard this album, I was into it already. I loved it. And yeah, I listened to it to death for a long time. Not to death, because I still love it. I listened to it a hell of a lot. I love every single song. None of them slow down. That's kind of what I was saying about Issues earlier. But like you said, and I agree with you. Some of them are what maybe made the album what it was, and make it so emotional maybe on some bits. But this album does not slow down. Every song is amazing. It's awesome. It
does push along at a rate. Like even when it slows down slightly, it doesn't feel like it's slow. It's taking a stop or a step back at all.
Yeah,
it just continuously goes until you're like, holy shit. And there are some like really great guitar effects. Some of the breakdowns, the drumming is fucking unreal. Like we probably should talk about, obviously David Silvera left the band after See You on the Other Side, and they got Ray Luzier in, and he is one of the best drummers going in any band. And he's been in the band now longer than David was originally. So we just need to mention that because he is an unbelievable drummer. And I think he came in on Paradigm Shift, I think. It might have been See on the Other Side. I think it was Paradigm Shift or Path to Totality, actually. So he had a hard job coming into the band at like a weird time when Korn were just trying weird shit. But actually now his beats make up a lot of Korn's sound these days.
Yeah.
But anyway, original drummer David was an incredible drummer, and people in the industry would tell you he's one of the hardest hitting drummers you will ever witness. Apparently, I can't remember it live, but I do remember his drums being boomy as hell, and he was shredded. But apparently, he just hit the drums harder than anyone at the time was playing drums. So yeah, I just needed to mention that.
Nice.
But yeah, I love this album as well.
Before going on, what I was saying earlier about the YouTube video I was watching, and the guy who knows a lot of stuff, I think he was saying something along the lines of, this is the one that Head came back, but for a lot of people, it took them a little bit. It took Korn a little while to get back into the swing of it. So for a lot of people, this album is sort of mid to them, and it's the next one that really got them back into really enjoying Korn again. So yeah, I just thought that was worth mentioning because like all three of us absolutely love it. But yeah, for a lot of people, maybe a lot of big Korn fans, it wasn't as good.
Yeah, maybe a step away from what made Korn, but a step in the right direction for, I don't want to say mainstream, but it's definitely a lot more palatable, and that's then generally the direction they tend to go in.
Like,
so on from this.
I think you're right though, because we'll speak now about the next album, Serenity of Suffering. If Paradigm Shift is a 9.5, Serenity of Suffering is a 9.6.
Yeah, definitely.
These are two absolutely unbelievable albums, one after the other. Unfucking real quality. But I just think Serenity of Suffering is just slightly better. And I mean, mildly better. But probably because it's just darker and heavier. Jonathan Davis doing those growls that we'd never heard him do before, absolutely disgusting, mate. Why was he not doing those really low growls from the beginning? Because he was not doing low vocals like that, and it just adds a whole new dynamic to his vocals and the breakdowns. And it's weird that you said about the cover, because the cover has the doll from Issues.
Yeah,
I think that this album mirrors Issues. I think that Serenity of Suffering is the modern day equivalent of Issues.
Oh, okay.
It's dark, it's brooding,
yeah.
It has sort of a story to it, it has a feel, it has its own identity. So I always put this and Issues within the same column. I feel like they are mirror images of each other from two different decades. That's how I see Serenity of Suffering. But fucking hell, this album is so good. Start to finish.
Truly.
Just every track is a standout. The singles were unbelievable. The videos were great. Live at this time, they were fucking unreal. similar to the last one, I don't have enough good things to say about this album. I absolutely love it. Stu?
Yeah, this was the album that got me back into Korn. Had quite a heavy... I mean, as I say, it was only really the singles that had me listening to them, but this was the first album that I truly listened from start to finish, and I loved it from the day it was released. Like, Rotten in Vain, Different World, Take Me, it's got some incredible songs on it, and the production on it as well is just so premium. It just sounds so good, and
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Take Me is like one of the first songs he's got back to his bummed at the hums, as we all know and love. And the bummed at the hums in that one are arguably better than his original bummed at the hums. So,
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
If you like bummed at the hums, go and listen to Take Me, because they're off the chart. I'm going to get a t-shirt with bummed at the hum written on it, just for the Sunday.
Oh, yeah, do it. SMTV clothing brand.
Get like a limited edition t-shirt.
Yeah, like broken, what's the names? Broken, tell us. I can't remember what they're called.
What now?
The people who made your other t-shirt.
What's he talking about?
Oh, sorry, Broken Day.
Broken Day.
Broken Day. Yeah, let's make a bummed at the hum t-shirt.
Just email them. Just saying bummed at the hum.
Yeah.
And that'll be it.
Question mark. Just a question mark at the end.
Yeah, bummed at the hum? I'm Ron Burgundy?
Bummed at the
So for some reason,
great album.
For some reason, after Paradigm Shift, I switched off. I switched off a Korn. I didn't know.
Why? An album that he loved, and he's just like, I'm out now.
I don't know. I do not know. Like,
bye.
So what year was this? What was I doing?
2016.
2016. What was I doing in 2016? It was like.
Didn't you see them this year?
Ago.
You said you saw them in 2016.
I was going to say, you just said you saw them. Cardiff Motorpoint.
Yeah.
Next to the
Went
Good
to watch
Smoke
them. He's
House.
like, nah, I'm done with this new album. Not even going to bother.
Maybe it was.
Let's get a ticket.
Maybe it was a gig that sort of subconsciously put me off of them again. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it most likely was that actually. That I didn't realize it at the time. That it was because of my tiredness that I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't into it, and I was just like, this whole thing is. I didn't enjoy Slipknot. Didn't enjoy Korn. Well, I said didn't enjoy. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed listening to the stuff, but it didn't get me going. So maybe subconsciously that kind of put me off of them for a bit. But yeah, you told me to listen to this album before, Simon, and
I have.
I did listen to it at the time. I think I must have been busy. I put it on, and I can see how it's quite similar to Paradigm Shift now. I thought some bits were a little bit slower from like the few songs that I listened to. Sort of a bit slower pace overall, but I'll give it a go. After what you said, I will definitely.
Yeah, I think if you like
Sure,
Paradigm Shift, I don't see why you wouldn't love this album because it's very similar.
Yeah,
very, very, very similar in the same sort of sound. Definitely.
Yeah,
so
definitely
give it
a good
time.
one for new listeners, I think.
Yes, it'd be a good entry point. So, if you sit with it for a while, you might get to grips.
Yeah, well,
and
definitely
friggin' love it. And then next up we have 2019's The Nothing. Yes, I like this album very much. Continuing, I mean, basically Korn just said, we made a dark album. How about we make one even darker than the last one that we made? Obviously, Jonathan Davis's wife and mother died within pretty quick succession before writing this album. So the lyrical content of this album is extremely dark, caveated with loss, just really, really quite deep, dark, meaningful content. Heavy as all hell as well. The Nothing is an amazing album. Probably sits mid-top end for me of Korn albums. I really like this album. Again, the production is slightly different to Serenity of Suffering, but still continuing in the same vein. Don't think it's as good of an album, but man, if you want to just get rid of some demons or listen to something that's just really dark, this album is one that will release a lot of those feelings for people. But yeah, really like it a lot. Stu?
Awesome. I've done a complete Adam Cox. I loved Serenity of Suffering and then just clocked out. Didn't listen to this album at all. So Unfortunately, it passed me by. And this time around on my research, I just have not had a chance to get to that album. So over to Adam.
Same thing to you, though, dude. If you liked Serenity of Suffering, I think you'll pretty much like The Nothing, because it's it continues within the same sort of vein.
Okay.
Yeah. Same for me. I think I did get to a few songs from it. I don't really know. It was very briefly. This is 13 albums in, Korn. But doing this has, I will probably go back and listen to all their albums again at some point. From doing this, before download, just to get into it. So yeah.
Okay.
Don't know the next
Sweet.
one.
And then we come to the last Korn album, 2022's Requiem. The main problem I have with this one is, for some reason, for the last 3 albums, their production was unbelievable. And they said to each other, let's record an album on analog tape. See how that comes out. Let's not continue with the incredible, amazing production we've had for the last 3 albums. Let's just throw that out the window. It's not a bad sounding album, but it's so overcompressed. It's a good album. Like, the songs are good. Disconnect and Worse It's On Its Way, unbelievable singles. Fantastic songs. But I can't get over how... Oh, I forgot Start the Healings on this one as well, and Forgotten. So some really, really great tracks on this one. But if you listen to it next to The Nothing or Serenity or Paradigm Shift, I just can't get over the overcompressed file sound that is this album. It just it annoys me slightly, but it's still a good listen. But for me, who's always tuned into that kind of mixing, mastering side, other people might not notice, but I always notice how over compressed this album sounds to me. But still a good album. Kind of sits in the middle of Korn albums for me. It didn't light a fire under me, but it's got some good tracks. Stu?
Mm-hmm. I mean, from this album, like you've just mentioned, Start the Healing, that has very quickly become, we're skipping forward a bit, that has very quickly become my favourite Korn tune now. I love that song.
Banger.
It's incredible. It really is. Again, newer album, more palatable, newer listeners. Maybe as a newer listener, maybe start on, do Requiem, Serenity of Suffering, Paradigm, and then go back and listen to like the singles and whatnot, because the great songs, palatable, and I'm sure you'll love them.
Okay,
interesting. Yeah, I listened to this once when it was first released. I'm sure we talked about it on here at the time, but I don't remember much about it. But I'm sure I would have heard Start the Healing, but I can't think of how it goes at the minute. I do not know.
It's worth it. The singles from this one are definitely worth a listen. They are very, very strong Korn singles, and they still play them live. So, well, they're in the set anyway. So you probably hear at least one song off Requiem. I would have thought when they play Download.
Yeah,
probably Start the Healing.
I think Start the Healing's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there was another single. I can't remember which one it was. Forgotten. It'll be that or Start the Healing.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely listen to them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's well over an hour, but that was cool. I enjoyed that. We did say
there's 14 albums though. Do you know what I mean? And like we've all got I've got an opinion on all of them, and we've got an opinion on most of them together. So yeah. What
was I going to say? We did say before we come off of this and start talking about what we're expecting at Download and all that kind of stuff. I did message these guys and say, should we do like a top 3? Originally, I thought, let's rank all of our albums in order, and then I realised half the albums I don't know. I don't know where I'd put them because I've barely listened to them. So then I thought about top 3, but I don't actually. I can't do a top 3. I've got a top 3 albums, but not in any particular order. I cannot place them 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna
go for it.
Yeah. So my top 3 albums are Untouchables, Take a Look in the Mirror, and Paradigm Shift. And I do not know which of those is number 1, number 2, or number 3. If I gave it like a really good listen, I listened to them all twice through, I might be able to place them. But yeah, they're all incredible albums to me. Like I was saying earlier, at one point, Issues would have been my favourite album. But I feel like some of their newer stuff is better than their older stuff. But that's kind of why I was surprised that a lot of people are still hanging on to Issues and Follow Leader, when some of their newer stuff is just incredible stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just as you say. It just depends when you really clocked in on Korn. Because if you were there when they released it, it was such a big movement that became your entire identity and whatever. You're gonna love those. They're gonna hold like a big place in your heart and that. But as newer listeners, you'd probably listen to that and think this is like sounds rough. It doesn't sound the best. So you probably do love the more polished, more recent releases.
Yeah. Have you guys got a top 3, or do you want to list your, some of your favorite albums?
Go on, Stu. Give us albums, three that you love. Yeah, 3 that you like, man, or love.
Albums I'll probably go in order of 3, 2, 1. Self-titled, Requiem, Serenity of Suffering for me. As I've mentioned, Serenity of Suffering is just an awesome album. Really good tunes in it, and then song featuring Corey Taylor as well. Different World. Yeah, really brilliant.
Okay. I would have put Serenity of Suffering in there.
Go on. Sorry, from 3 to 1, you've gone 1, 14, 12. That was a bit
quick maths.
Well, it's accounting. It's not maths.
Quick. All right. Sorry. Sorry, sir.
Number 18. Shut up.
Yeah, if you say so. I don't know. I'm not about to count.
And I'll counteract Stu's, right? Because Stu has also chosen 3 albums that I would choose, but I'll choose different ones that I love as well. So I'd go with Issues, The Nothing, and Paradigm Shift. They are 3 albums that I absolutely love, but I also very much love the ones that Stu mentioned. But just to be different, if I had to pick 3 albums that weren't those albums that he said, those would be 3 other Korn albums that I would pick that I love from start to finish and I think are awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a very brief overview of the albums. We're almost done, aren't we? A very brief overview of the albums. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to even think about with Korn. Like I said, I want to talk about when people got into them and what albums they might be into, but we might be running out of time, and there's not a lot. I haven't researched it, basically. That's why I was just curious about it. But so let's go into what we might expect at Download, knowing that I don't enjoy Korn that much live. I've said that many times on the podcast.
And I freak out every time that you say it, because
it's not a secret at this point.
Hands down, consistently one of the best bands you can watch.
Yeah, I think they're incredible live, but I think their position on Download's lineup in history hasn't done them any favours. They're just, now that they're going to be given the main stage, I think they're going to kill it. They've got the stage to themselves. They can do whatever they want with the setup. It's going to be incredible. But every time that I've seen them at Download, they've been a bit lackluster. But that's purely because they haven't been the headliner for me. Like 2022 subbed to Biffy Clyro, 2016 subbed to Rammstein, 2013 subbed to Bullet, who then subbed to Slipknot. So they've just been a bit underwhelming at Download. But then when I've seen them live, the stage show, the lights, everything have been incredible. I mean, Si can comment better because he obviously was at the Gunnersbury Park show, but I'm sure, given the stage, I'm sure it's going to be incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Adam
is a madman.
If you don't like Korn this time, you're never going to enjoy Korn live.
Yeah.
If you can't enjoy a headline Korn, you just, that's it. You're done. You might as well just not watch them because it would be a waste of your time. I do quickly, just real quick. I can do this real quick before we start. I have my Korn download sets ranked. I can run through those real quick.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So this will be the 7th time I would have seen Korn at Download. It would have been the 16th time overall. I've seen Korn.
Holy shit.
Dude, I've been watching Korn since 2001. I've seen Korn a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're one of my favourite bands, so I've seen them a lot. But anyway, I genuinely think that all these sets were great, but I have to rank them in where I do. So 2013, it was good, but it wasn't actually that memorable. I can't remember anything from it, but I do remember enjoying it at the time. 2009 is next because it was good. I don't think they were a bit looser than normal, but the whole set is on YouTube and it's still really, really fucking good. The crowd was unreal. Sorry? 2009.
Oh, the whole set?
Yeah, whole set's on YouTube. It's unbelievable.
I have to check that out.
back in the day when, you know, I don't want to sound like an old man, but there's no phones in hand, mate. It's just everyone going fucking mental.
Yeah.
2016, even though I hate that download, Korn's performance in the rain was absolutely phenomenal, and it made me completely forget it was raining. That's how good they were. 2022 is next. Absolutely unbelievable sound, and it was great to see literally a sea of young people going fucking mental to Korn, which is just really great to see. I looked over it like a grandfather over my children, and just to say, look at all these kids just going fucking mental at Korn. I was so proud of them for that moment.
Yeah, if you were
second
to give to them.
Yeah, just literally like, guys, go crazy. Boom da da boom da, go. Second, 2006, obviously Korn karaoke, we've spoken about it before. You know, seeing people like M Shadows, you know, Dez, all sorts of litany of famous musicians from our genre sing Korn songs without Jonathan Davis was just an absolute delight to behold. It will never happen again. It was a complete one-off thing to witness. So it's second because of that. And best time for me was obviously 2007 when Korn said, sorry about last year, let's play in a tent. And you know, like everyone that was there, you know, you could not get within a mile of that tent. That's how insane it was. And, you know, I've never been in a tent when I could have sworn it was raining inside, but it was just because there was so many people in there and so many people going mental that literally condensation was dripping from the inside of the tent. I've never experienced anything like seeing Korn in that tent in 2007. It's absolutely, I can't put it into words how just out of this world that performance was, seeing them in there. But yeah, so that's all my downloads ranked.
And that's insane to think 2007 Korn were tent level. Like,
well, they weren't. That's the point.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, why would Download
like,
put them in a tent?
I don't know. Like, I remember Jonathan Davis saying we just want to play like a show in there to give something back to fans because he obviously was ill, so they just came back the next year, and it was the second stage tent. So it was a big tent,
point,
like bigger than any of the tents
okay,
at Download.
So that at that stage there wasn't an outdoor second stage.
No. Second stage was not open until 2008.
Right.
No, but it was that stage was. Well, the tent for that stage was probably around the same size as the Doghouse stage tent this year.
Oh wow,
massive!
Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
But yeah, so it was big. But yeah, you'll never experience Korn in that environment ever again. It was fucking mental. But yeah, anyway, I won't go on too much about that.
Yeah,
no, I mean, as you say, like how incredible they are on that, and I've always said something. The way I've always put it is. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And people have always said, how has it taken this long for Korn to finally headline? And so I thought I'd look back and see like what opportunities would have made sense to me. And for me, it would have been 2016 when they appeared sub-headlining to Rammstein. 2016, they released Serenity is Suffering. And for me, that's to have a fresh album that good should surely have been the footing to get them on main stage headliner. Since then, there hasn't really been an opportunity, I don't think. So it's weird for them to headline now after not releasing an album since, was it 2022 we said?
Yeah.
So it's weird for them to do it now instead of off a fresh, huge album such as Serenity.
I obviously haven't done the research or looked into this, but I think they will do a festival circuit. The big bands do festival circuits just before they release albums because they want to do a massive tour for their album once it's released. Like Bring Me the Horizon did it just before the release. Well, was it just before? It was a little bit before the album.
Was that not because of the delay of the album, though?
Well, it came out way after that in the end, didn't it? It was supposed to come out that October, but it didn't come out till way into 2024.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the lower bands, they want to play festivals as part of their tour. With a new album, but I feel like I said, I haven't researched it. I could be completely wrong, but the real big bands, they won't play festival circuits the same year.
Yeah.
As they release
the only one
albums.
that come to mind would be The Stage with Avenged. Wasn't that part of their big push for the album?
Probably.
I'm asking
There's probably a few, but
yeah.
I get what he means. They want to build people up to the album rather than coming after it. But yeah. Get you.
So maybe the year after that was out, But they've probably been a headline band for a long time. Just haven't had the opportunities. It does feel like if all these older bands were still going, if all the older bands were never going to stop, Korn would never have got there because nobody would give them that spot above someone like Iron Maiden, Linkin Park. But yeah, I think we've talked about it a few times recently with there are slots to fill. So Korn are naturally the next people to go into it.
Definitely.
They've done everything.
Yeah.
They've done everything they could to get there. They should have been there a long time ago. People have been crying out for Korn to headline for a long time. And it's going to be good. What I just said about not enjoying them, I don't think I've ever been that close to the front of the stage for them either. So I'm going to try and get pretty close this year for a lot of bands. I believe last year, I think I did something to my back like the week before Download. So I was off sick of work. I hadn't been back to work and I went straight to Download. Like I told them I'm going, I'm fine now, but I'm going to Download. But I was so worried about slipping over in the mud and hurting myself and then having to go back off sick after being on holiday. But I'm doing all right now. Well, that sounds really bad. But so this year, I am really going to try my hardest to get to the pretty close for a lot more bands because I feel like I've missed out on a lot of stuff, a lot of experiences from going, do you know what? I'm older now. I'm cool back here. But I think, so maybe it's the same with Korn. I've never been that close with them. Apart from
you need to be close to the energy.
You
need to be close for the energy. I think Korn. Yeah, the energy feeds through the audience.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's always put me off, well, not put me off, but I enjoy less than other people is like the bagpipe bits and the medley bits. But I do think, if you're up there, if you're in with the main crowd, you'll feel that you'll receive that energy.
It's true though. You will. Yeah, I'll be front and center for Green Day. I'll be front and center for Sleep Token. I'll be front and center for Korn. I will be as far as I can get in for each of those. Stella.
I think these three headlines kind of demand it. I think we need to.
Yeah.
Like for myself, like in the past, I've gone either left side or right side and not been able to catch all of the stage show. But I think for these three headliners, I think to truly experience it and truly guarantee you're going to have an even better time than you would do, I think you need to see the whole stage, not just the screens.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the three of us need to wear kilts as well. Just saying.
Okay, I don't mind.
Okay. As long as they got pockets. My phone.
Huh?
As long as they got pockets.
As long as they got pockets.
My phone. Don't get phone stolen. I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be incredible. Did either of you get a snippet of like songs that they regularly play or what they might play?
Yeah, we can go for the Gunnersbury Park set list if we want.
Okay.
I can surely get that up for you now. That's
what I've been listening. Very, very first album heavy because it was the 30 years, but they probably won't play Faggot and some other stuff. But
should we have a blast through it?
They probably will.
Yeah,
go for it, dude.
So I'll just reel them off. We'll start with For You. Then we got Rotting Vein, Here to Stay, Adidas, Clown, Start the Healing, Good God, Blind, Got the Life, Falling Away From Me, Coming Undone, Somebody Someone, You'll Want a Single, Shoots and Ladders, Twist, Divine, and then closing with Freak on a Leash.
Nice.
So pretty varied, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like Adam asked what we expect. I expect banger after banger after banger after banger after banger.
Was one in there? Sorry, because that was such an incredible cover. And when I learned that they played it live, I was like, yes, I'm looking forward to seeing this live.
I'm not seeing that on there. No.
So that, Metallica cover for anybody who wasn't aware. I think just when they did it, it just blew up, and everyone was like, Korn are covering Metallica's One. Like everyone knew about it at the time, but it was a long time ago now, and you never know how much the news sticks around with people.
They normally do the medley, so they normally do. I think it's like Good God, Bull Tongue, One. There's a couple of other Did My Time, like all the songs that they never play in full in a medley. They normally mix all of them, so you get like a couple of riffs of each, which I like because it's like we can't play all these songs, but we're just going to play a few bits of each one. So you're like, oh, I like that. But they don't always do the medley these days, so they might have got rid of that to play maybe put in some other full songs rather than that. But
do you know what I'd quite like
medley's
is
good to enjoy.
Doghouse not to play Freak on a Leash for the entire weekend. So
Oh, you know,
when
it's
we
like
hear
the
it for the
first song they're
first
gonna
time,
play. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
every single DJ is just like, we're going to hear this live this weekend. And we'll probably hear it about 16 times over the weekend.
Yeah, let's play the shit out of it. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go then. That's the thing, right? This year at Download, if they play Freak on a Leash, we have to put our fingers on our ears for the whole song. And we can't move. We have to stand perfectly
we
still.
just can't vibe at all.
No, you have to stand perfectly still with your fingers in your ears.
Cool. And
you cannot listen to that song at Download until Korn play it, okay?
Cool.
Yeah.
And if you fail, if you accidentally take your fingers out of your ears, you've got to drink your drink. You finish your drink.
100%.
If you're with somebody
100%.
who fails at that, make them finish their drink. And if you see us,
we
take a
can
picture.
police. Yeah, we'll police us three. So if any of us see anyone else doing anything to Freak on a Leash, we have to punish them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay, I'm down
Awesome.
with that.
Yeah, cool. Oh my god. Oh, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's so close, isn't it? Like it's like 4 months now. Again, it's come around quick.
Yeah.
But
Don't
also
wish your
long.
life away though.
It's come around quick because
if you wish if you wish the year away, you know Download will go as quickly as it possibly can. So don't wish it away.
This year is fucking
Enjoy,
flying already.
Enjoy the build up. Enjoy the build up.
Yeah.
Bro.
Oh, definitely.
That's what I'm doing. Enjoy the build up because we know what it's like. We'll sit there on the Sunday and be like,
"Where's that
going?
going?"
What happened to Download?
Oh, we're talking about next year's headliners next week then on the podcast.
Yeah.
It'll feel like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else about Korn? Let me try and think.
I have a couple of bits.
Okay.
Just a couple of small bits. I won't mention it too much,
give us more
but
bits.
people forget how big Korn were. They were on South Park, which is a huge deal. There are not many alternative bands that have been mentioned or anything by South Park, but it just shows you in the 90s how big Korn actually were.
Yeah.
That they actually got onto, and they I can't remember what song they used, but they were actually on there, which is just insane. You could probably say that Ozzy is also responsible for Korn sort of being quite popularized, because in 1995 he chose them and Deftones as his supports, which you couldn't have chose two more awesome bands at the time, but that's like first album territory for both. So again, Ozzy has helped so much everyone in a lot of genres, but we can say that he definitely helped taking those two on tour with him and getting more eyes on new bands, because at the time they were both a year old. So props to Ozzy again for just picking fucking awesome bands, which he normally does.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to talk about is the Family Values tour, specifically the 1998 one. I had it on VHS and I nearly wore that VHS out. I've got it on DVD now. But basically, we don't know what it was. In 1998, Korn said, we want to do our own tour. We don't want anyone to tell us who we're going to go on tour with. We're going to do our own tour, and we're going to pick the bands that come on with us. They're going to be all our friends and loads of shit. So this is just insane. The tour was Korn headlining with supports from Limp Bizkit, Ice Cube, Incubus, Orgy, Rammstein. All in one day. One after the other, all building up to Korn headlining. And if you do get a chance, it's probably on YouTube. I haven't checked, but the Family Values Tour 1998, I wore that VHS out. I've still got the DVD. The backstage stuff is fucking hilarious. They are all wild. You get to see really young guys from Rammstein, really young Incubus, baby Fred Durst. It's really worth watching just for the backstage stuff, but the actual gigs, and it's all of their sets as well. It shows every band's full set. It's really worth watching. Limp Bizkit, Significant Other time. It's just unbelievable. It's really, really great. So it's something that I would highly recommend if you're a Korn fan to check out. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I haven't checked, but I bet it is all on there.
Yeah, it probably is. I completely forgot about the Family Values Tour. And they were huge. They were like some of the biggest names that were in rock and metal at the time. They weren't just randomly picked bands from all over the place. They were huge bands, and I remember there was a band from around here. I think they officially said they were from like Liverpool, because one of them was from Liverpool. But everybody else that was in the band, it was Twin Method. They released like one new metal album. Of
course, yeah.
But everybody else that was in the band was from here, and I remember seeing them all at the gigs when I first started going to gigs. They were all there, I don't think they were quite in the band or formed Twin Method at that point. But yeah, they joined one of the Family Value Tour years. And yeah, it must have been incredible. Just from a small town here in Somerset, and they're going to play with Korn. And I think Evanescence were there that year. Possibly El Nino as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
They haven't done, so they've done one in 98, 99, 2001. Then they've done a couple in the 2000s, but they haven't done a Family Values tour since 2013. So I'm wondering if we're due Korn picking their own supports and doing like a fucking insane Family Values tour and then going out. Because how many people would pay to see a lineup even similar to that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you couldn't get Rammstein these days, so that would be out. But I'm sure that Korn could convince Limp Bizkit to do it as well.
Yeah.
And with some other bands that, are amazing as well. So I think that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah. Could almost see like an arena show, maybe. Not an arena, sorry, a stadium show. With like,
it would be
Slipknot, Korn.
Stadium. Yeah, definitely. 100%. But yeah, I'd love to see a new Family Values tour, but who knows? We might never get to see one.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things coming back. We're getting the Warp Tour again. But I mean...
Oh, wow.
Slipknot obviously do Knotfest. Ozzy did Ozfest for a long time. So yeah, maybe they'll bring it back. That would be quite cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah, never got to go to one. So a lot of them were America-based. They didn't bring any over here, unfortunately. But it would be nice to have a European leg of Family Values. Yeah. That would be amazing. Yeah.
I did really quickly as well, before we come off of this. I did put in the Discord earlier asking what people's top 3 albums were, and a lot of people replied, and I want to go through it quickly before my phone dies.
Okay.
But I think it was quite quick to read them all out. But yeah, just the amount of Follow the Leader and issues in here. But yeah, so Dylan, these are all going in 1, 2, 3 order, so I don't have to keep saying the numbers. Dylan, Follow the Leader, issues, self-titled. What else have we got? Where's there a big gap? Chris, self-titled, Follow the Leader, issues. We'll see. Follow the Leader, issues, Untouchables. Marty, issues, Untouchables, The Nothing. And he's also actually got into them after the South Park appearance around when Issues was released. Jacob, Take a Look in the Mirror, issues, Korn. Vicky, Follow the Leader, issues, Untouchables. This is insane. You got a couple more. Keyrun Benji, issues, The Nothing, Follow the Leader. And Tom, the debut, Untouchables, Follow the Leader. Just
wow,
insane. No paradigm shift in there.
That's a lot of issues.
Yeah,
made me look like a right noob.
Okay, now. But yeah, that was really cool. Thank you for writing those in for us, guys. I want to touch on them really quickly. But yes, so it's about time we wrapped it up. Was there anything else we needed to talk about Korn about? There's a lot of stuff we could still go into, but we're running out of time. I'm sure the Korn will come up again sometime between now and download. Okay, yeah, so that is the end of this episode. There's probably loads more we could talk about Korn, or we could delve into with Korn. This could easily be like a 4-hour episode or something, but we don't have 4 hours. But I'm sure we will end up talking quite a bit more about Korn. Something will come back to me in like 3 days and I'll go, oh, I'll talk to Simon about that on the podcast or something. But for now, we're going to say a big thank you to our Patreons. I did say, we did say again last episode, change your name to something Korn related or something Stu related. If you want to make us laugh at Stu, get him to say something that you've always wanted him to say. He didn't like the idea of getting your own free cameo from him from this. But anyway, Stu, are you on Cameo yet?
What do you mean? Am I on Cameo yet? That's who you think I am.
You're that guy who did the really good RIP vlog.
Yes, and I can wish anyone happy birthday if you want it, yeah.
But yes, so anyway, yeah, thank you. I'll send them over to Stu in a second. Thank you to those people who changed their names, and thank you to our Patreons. In general, you're all massive, massive legends. Stu, do you want to read out their names for us?
I'd love to, yeah. So thank you everyone for 1, supporting Dear Download, and 2, changing your names if you have. So we're going to start from the top. We have got Let's Get This Marty Started. I was tickled me that one. It's a good one. We've got Mike Ferris, Andy T2, Liam, Tom West. We've got How Does Korn Make Their Music? They Play It By Ear. That's from Vicky. I don't quite get that one. You have to explain that one to me.
Ear of Korn.
Ear of Korn. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Right. Ethan Brown, Matthew. The wife won't put a free... Oh, fuck's sake. I'm so sorry. I've messed that one up. The wife won't put a leash on this freak. I think we've got to call back to Simon Bond's most recent bands he hates YouTube, because we got Stu to knock out Simon in the first round. That's from Seegers. That's for his Parkway Drive comments. We got Ben Saccone, Johnny Bravo, Chris, Sean Schofield, Jacob. We got Alex with some call me kinky, I prefer freak on a leash. And we've got James. So some great ones in there, guys. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. You guys are absolute massive legends for supporting us on Patreon. There's so much that we couldn't do without you guys. We're less than a week away from receiving the design for the 2024's Patreon t-shirts. So I've sent it off. He was a bit busy, so he said, right, I need 2 weeks to do this one. And we'll be getting that back soon. It's going to look incredible because we have gone back to the guy who made our original t-shirt with the monster coming out of the microphone. I wanted to try some different designs for loads of different t-shirts and different artists. And then I found out there are some scammers on Fiverr, which I should have known better, really, shouldn't I? But yeah, so looking into somebody's reviews, his pictures that he has drawn for people look nothing like the pictures he has on his portfolio, and I almost sent this guy a lot of money. So yeah, we've gone back to the original guy, but that means it's going to look absolutely incredible. So within probably 2-3 weeks, we'll have those t-shirts out to you. If anybody else wants to join the Patreon to get in on those exclusive Patreon t-shirts, we're doing them every year for the people who support us the most. And it'll be like a festival lineup picture. It'll have your names on the back, and nobody can buy these t-shirts. They'll be only for you guys. So yeah, if you want to join in with that, or if you want to just support us in general, everything is absolutely amazing. Everything we receive goes back into the podcast, and you can find the links in the episode description. There'll be a link to Linktree in there, and there's everything you want to find in there. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, that was a lot of talking. Do one of you want to go? Simon? No, Stu, sorry, guest first. Stu, do you want to plug all of your stuff or give any shout-outs before we wrap it up?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, can do. I'm Stu. You've just listened to me talk about Korn for, what was it, like an hour and a half or something? If you haven't checked out the other episodes, we did Green Day and Sleep Token. Should definitely go and listen to those too. You can find me on YouTube. I'm SMTV. If you searched SMTV Download Festival, I'll come up. Instagram will be SMTV _ Insta. And TikTok, which seems to have been blowing up recently, is SMTV _ TikTok. And then one more thing is the Trash Talkin podcast. Go and search that on any streaming platform and you'll find me there as well.
You've got your fingers in a lot of pies. Anyway.
I have. I've got a lot going on. Busy boy. Just thank you for having me on again, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no worries.
Really appreciate it.
It's been cool. Yeah. Thank you for coming on. Simon, you want to give all of your stuff a plug as well?
Yes. Obviously, YouTube doing very well. Like I said, just reached 3K subscribers, which is just amazing. So my 3K subs video and my releases coming in 2025 video will be out by the time this podcast is out. So go and check those out on YouTube. Also, there will be some big band news. So if you don't know already, I'm in a band called Ashes by Dawn. There will be some big band news coming this Friday, but you would already know that by now. The podcast comes out, but some real big band news coming out. So I'm excited to share that with everyone. And yeah, Simon Bond on YouTube, and obviously Fonzie _ Simon on Insta. Holla at me, baby.
Nice. I actually need to put the links to your band in the description as well. I've got loads of links in there to everybody. But yeah, it's sounding good, man. I heard it yesterday for the first time. I clicked on it and then realized you released it like 6 days ago on Instagram. I was like, how have I not heard this already? But yeah, I thought it sounded really good. I think it would sound at home on Dream Theater's Train of Thought. It sounds quite, yeah. I think that's what it made me feel at the time. So again, yeah, you can find all of Simon's stuff, all of his links and everything everywhere to find him in the episode description. I got nothing to plug. Oh no, hang on. I will be starring in a vlog soon. I might not be. I don't know if you're doing it. But you made me think earlier when you were talking about traveling. People love traveling videos, Simon. And I was going to say, oh, we're actually traveling soon, aren't we? We're traveling to Bristol to a gig, and it's Bristol, so I thought you'd probably vlog it. So I'll try and sort of. I will
be. That will be my video for the following week. Excellent. So yeah, I will definitely be vlogging it.
Stick my head in to the shot a few times then.
You're going to be in it. It's only going to be me and you. Okay. I'm not going to go, I'm just going to ignore this guy that's with me.
Pretend he's not there.
But yeah, we're actually going to do a gig together, which is, I've been looking forward to this gig for ages. We're going to watch Self-Deception play in Bristol in March. And they've been one of my favourite bands probably for 4 or 5 years now. So good. Swedish, of course. And they're playing in Bristol. So yeah, we're going to go and see them. And
it's going to be awesome. We got a hotel.
Yes.
We're going to get pissed up. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. I'm meant to be working the next day. I spoke to my manager about swapping my day off that week, and he's told me it should be fine, but he's not got back to me confirm it yet. So hopefully.
I will not be doing anything the next day, mate. What are you on?
Yeah, so I'll have to tell him we've already booked the hotel. But anyway, yeah, we're going to go. This has been a long one already, and yeah, sorry we couldn't talk more about Korn because I'm sure some of you would have enjoyed another 2 hours of Korn, but we have to go. That's the end of the episode. So it's a goodbye from Simon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Stu.
Goodbye.
And a goodbye from me. Goodbye.